So the meeting is called to order. Chair Pip.
Hold 1 second, Debbie.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought.
We're live on Facebook.
Okay, take it away, Pip.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first meeting of 2023 of the Lower Russian Municipal Advisory Council. Can we think of a shorter way to call this thing? Anyway, so welcome all. We have a pretty packed agenda tonight, but we're going to start tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I see Vesta.
Yes.
Do you
And
want to do
flag.
the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Vesta. We're gonna do roll call. Debbie, you want to call roll call?
Yes. Vesta Copestakes,
Yes.
Lisa Nominson,
Yes.
Joe Rogoff,
Present.
Nick Pereira,
Here.
Betsy Van Dyke.
Here.
Cynthia Strucker is absent today. Mike Nichols,
Present.
Vicky Clues,
Here.
and Pip Marquez de la Plata.
Present.
And I was going to say Patty Thayer is,
Yes, present.
yes, substituting for Cynthia Strucker.
Great. Thanks, Debbie. Now we're gonna ask the council. We need a motion to approve the agenda, which you've all had time to look at. Does anyone move to approve? The
So
agenda?
moved.
Okay, that was Joe.
I'll second it. Yeah, whatever.
Who's
Uh,
second?
Vesta.
Okay. And roll call vote. Vesta,
You're on mute.
She raised her hand. Yes.
okay, so that's a yes. Lisa,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Betsy,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
and Pip.
Here, yes. All right, thanks, Debbie. So now's the time, as always, that if there's anything on the agenda that any of the council has a conflict of interest with, now is the time to raise your hand and say that you do. Anybody? Nope, we got, okay, good on that. As there's no correspondence to go over, we're going to move right to council member comments. And this is for items that are not specifically on the agenda. If you have an announcement or a statement to make, now's the time to do that. And it will be the same. We'll go to the folks in the public after the council. I see Lisa has her hand raised.
Hi, Chair. I wanted to know if we could do an ad hoc to study whether or not our group wants to have a land acknowledgement at the beginning of our meeting in addition to the pledge. So just be like, or a study session on that topic. And I could talk about this for a long time, but I won't.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what the appropriate means is for it, but you know, some of us, or I'll speak for myself, it would be good to have a reflective process. It's not just something you do. I've been reading a bit about it. And I think it would be an important sort of issue to study, for us to study and bring back to the group. So, and I'm willing to be a part of whatever this takes.
All right, great. Thanks, Lisa.
Yep.
Nick?
I wanted to, first of all, thank Johannes for the update on the Guerneville Vets Hall. I wasn't able to attend the meeting, but I did go back and listen to it. So thank you for that. I wanted to follow on though. Is there any way that we could get some sort of a timeline so we can measure expectations on when we should see progress on this and what are the benchmarks that are going to be accomplished as the project moves forward? Thanks.
All right, thanks, Nick. Anyone else? Betsy.
This may be kind of nitpicky and silly, but I'd like to change the name of our district from Pocket Canyon to Pocket Canyon Vacation Beach Drake Road. Because it makes more sense to me because I don't live in Pocket Canyon and Greg doesn't live in Vacation Beach, and it just makes sense to me. And I think it would help our constituents to understand that they have a representative or that they have representatives on the council. And I know that's something that would be up to the county to do, but it would make sense to me to explain it better to the people we represent.
I've heard that before, so I think that's something that we should definitely take up. My opinion. Anyone else? Vesta.
Forestville is planning an April 20th town hall, and it will be an update on the housing element and the public infrastructure, downtown sidewalks, and hopefully also the concept of the roundabout at Mirabel at Mirabel at River Road, very specifically. So we are nailing down the location and time, but just put it in your heads that Forestville is having a town hall coming up.
Great.
And it's Lower River Mac in concert with the Forestville Planning Association, then the Chamber of Commerce as well.
Great. Thank you, Vesta. Anyone else? Comments? Okay. I missed the consent calendar, which we'll come to in just a sec. I apologize for that. We're going to go to public comments first on items not on the agenda.
Gallery, please raise your hand. Note that we do have a 2-minute limit for public comment and that a timer will come up when you have 30 seconds left. You can also submit your questions or comments via the Q&A.
Great. I see one hand, Bob Rada.
Yes, hi, thank you. Are we allowed to provide comments on the Moscow Road issue?
I'm pretty sure that's gonna come up. So when we get to that section, there'll be time for that, if that in fact comes up. But I'm guessing it's going to.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll wait till the subject comes up,
Sure.
if that's okay.
Yep, absolutely. Any other hands up? I don't see any in here. Are there any that I'm missing, Jason?
I am not seeing any, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're gonna move to the consent calendar. This is all of you on the council have had a chance to review the minutes. If there are any corrections, additions, or if there's someone that wants to move to approve the minutes as is, now's the time to do that. Nick.
I noted to Debbie earlier a correction on the very last page of the minutes referencing the terms for the representative. The dates are wrong on that, and that should be corrected.
Okay. Anyone else? So if there's no other corrections or additions, does someone want to make a move to approve the minutes with the correction that Nick brought up?
So move.
Seconded.
Patty moved. I think Mike, you seconded.
Correct.
Great. Okay. We are going to move on to regular calendar items. Supervisor Hopkins has some updates that she wants to talk about. So Lynda.
Should I take a roll call vote, Chair?
Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry.
Okay. On the consent calendar, Vesta,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Betsy,
Yes,
Patty,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
and Pip.
Yes.
Thank
All
you.
right, all right, Lynda, take it away.
Thank you so much. And if at any point you can't understand me, just please cut in and interrupt, and I can always call in by phone instead of using my cell connection to connect through the Zoom app. I've got 2 strikes against me, 1 I'm on cell and 2 I'm recovering from a cold. So please feel free to interrupt. Lots of things happening in West County, but I think that sort of the 2 most prominent concerns that I am hearing from the community in the lower Russian River are regarding the housing element as well as Moscow Road. Now, Johannes is going to be able to provide a detailed update on Moscow Road in a little bit as part of the regular calendar. So I'm going to focus my energy on the housing element, which is that sort of big picture over the past few weeks. Since I was able to read through the 600-page DEIR, I have done site-specific investigation on all of the parcels in Forestville and Guerneville, and I have come up with a number of concerns which are largely shared by the community, particularly as it regards access, as well as sort of the use of public facilities on the site. So in Guerneville, the parcels off Laughlin have very limited ingress and egress on a very narrow road that is sort of not up to the standard width. And so sort of the concept of putting a bunch of housing on a road that is inadequate with no shoulders, bike lanes, or sidewalks is certainly concerning. Now, most developments would be required to actually have 2 major ingress and egress points to assist with, evacuation and kind of public safety reasons. I think that would be very difficult to do on the Laughlin Road properties. I also want to flag the property that is owned by Sweetwater Springs. We have received a letter from Sweetwater Springs stating that they actually do not want the property upzoned. And while the DEIR assumes that there would be sort of housing units across the entirety of the parcel is currently 1/3 occupied by water storage. Additionally, that parcel is very, very steep and lacks kind of access to a major sort of thoroughfare that would be able to carry that kind of traffic. Shifting over to Forestville, 2 of the Forestville sites, the one between Nolan and Juicy, and then the one on Van Keppel, both are actually landlocked. They do not have, as part of that parcel, access to a major road. The access goes through separate assessors parcel numbers, separate parcels. And so I have questioned with staff sort of how can you move forward with upzoning something for development when it actually doesn't have access to a road. Other concerns in Forestville, we have talked for quite some time about the county-owned properties, and there's the one on Packing House, and then there's the one that's right next to it that is the TPW road yard currently. On the Packing House property, we've had conversations about the Forestville Skate Park. We actually had the community supporting the idea of skate park with some housing, but unfortunately this proposal would cover the entire parcel in housing, which would eliminate the use for the skate park. And so I flagged that for staff as well. With respect to the road yard, and actually maybe Johannes can comment on this later, I had some reservations about the idea of making the road yard use itself legal non-conforming, because anytime that a use becomes legal non-conforming, it's actually limited to 10% expansion in the future. And I just know that that's a road yard that's very heavily used, particularly during the winter months, as a storage site for mud. And basically anytime we have a mudslide, it typically is stored on that site for a while. And then finally, I also did flag environmental justice concerns on the Forestville parcel that is directly adjacent to the sewer plant, because I found a study that actually indicated that the closer your proximity to a wastewater treatment plant, the higher incidence of gastrointestinal illnesses due to airborne pathogens from the plant. So I went into that's kind of the high level summary, and I think I hit on all the parcels. If I didn't, feel free to ask me a question. But I wrote a very, very, very detailed, lengthy letter to staff expressing my concerns, and I'm waiting to hear back. I do want to mention in terms of process, This has not yet gone to the Planning Commission. This has not yet gone to the Board of Supervisors. That means that it is not a done deal. And also it's important to know that things can change based on community feedback between sort of the DEIR and the final EIR. And finally, I kind of had my nose to the grindstone and was literally searching and pulling up all of those different parcels on the permit Sonoma map and looking at them and finding the APNs and all that, and making sure that, they match, because actually in some instances, the picture in the DEIR was incorrect. It wasn't of the actual site. That was true in Guerneville. In Forestville, there was one of the sites that the address actually didn't match the APN. So I pointed out those errors as well. But while I was doing all this work, I want to say thank you to everybody who has been also doing a ton of research into these sites, because many of the comments that we received actually echoed these concerns that I had raised. Oh, and I also flagged the possibility of inadequate sewer infrastructure, which may be true in Guerneville as well as Forestville. And the fact that we actually, because of the TMDL and the Russian River, might want to actually extend sewer service to existing residents, which could then decrease any capacity to extend service to potential new units being added. So that was kind of the bulk of the comments that I shared with staff, and I'm happy to answer any questions about the process. And I know that, and I want to also thank especially Mike Nichols, who I know is going to be giving a report out from the Land Use Committee as well. But that's kind of what I have been up to, and yeah, happy to answer any questions. And again, Moscow, I've been in constant communications with Johannes multiple times a week about Moscow Road, but he'll be able to give a more complete update than I will.
You're on mute, Pip.
We're going to take some questions from council members, and then we'll go to the public. Lisa, I see your hand raised.
Just really quickly, Supervisor, what's the next hearing and what's the next deadline, if you know of those answers? What is the next hearing people can watch?
That's a great question. And actually, it is not scheduled yet on the Planning Commission calendar. I'm guessing that staff and the consultant were a little surprised by the sheer volume of comments that they now have to go and analyze and formally respond to as part of the DEIR process. So it is not yet calendared. Oh, one other thing I want to mention, though, is I also sort of asked staff that if nothing changes between the DEIR and the final EIR with respect to the Western Sonoma County parcels, I formally requested an in-person town hall meeting in each of the communities that have the proposed upzoning, which would include Grayton, Forestville, and Guerneville. So I did put that request in.
Excellent. And just could I do one follow-up, Chair?
Sure.
Follow-up question.
Can I just add one piece on the timing? I just wanted to share that I know that Permit Sonoma is still waiting for the state to respond to their previously submitted housing element document, and they're expecting the state to require revisions because that's typically what's done. So that's going to extend the timeline as well, because they're going to have to resubmit to the state. The state's going to then have to re-review and give feedback, and then at that point it would then be able to proceed to the Planning Commission, and then after that the board. So there is definitely still time. So thanks for letting me jump in there. Go ahead, Lisa.
So two follow-up questions, Supervisor, because I think you dropped out on the environmental justice parcel in Forestville. Could you reiterate what you said about that parcel? It got a little bit scratchy. And then what you said about if a parcel is landlocked, if you could just repeat those two quick things. I think I missed that.
Absolutely. One of the parcels in Forestville that is proposed is directly adjacent to the sanitation plant. I believe it's directly to the north of it. And, there's been kind of a historic problem for, probably decades, right, of oftentimes putting affordable and workforce housing in, areas that have air quality impacts from industry, from sewer plants, that kind of thing, right? The sewer plants don't tend to go next to the, very expensive homes, right? And so I flag that as an environmental justice concern, particularly because there actually is a study, and I'd be happy to send you the link, that highlighted the health concerns of residences in close proximity to wastewater treatment plants. And it demonstrated, the study showed that the further away you were from the treatment plant, the fewer the incidence of gastrointestinal illnesses. And so in other words, the closer you got to the wastewater treatment plant, likely because of airborne pathogens, the higher the incidence of gastrointestinal illnesses in the residents, who live there next to the plant. And then the other, so the two parcels that I identified as landlocked, and others members of the community have raised this as well. One of them is the parcel that's proposed for roughly 720 additional residents, and that is the parcel between Juicy and Nolan. It does not, that parcel, if you look it up, does not have direct access to either of those roads. The only access would go through 3 other separate APNs, so they're not together. The other parcel is the one off of Van Keppel, which is again also a separate APN, and there's a private driveway that is very narrow that connects that property to Van Keppel, but it does not have direct access to Van Keppel, let alone 2 access points, which again is what we look to as a minimum standard for developments.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I wrote in as citizen Malmonson because I live on the 1-lane portion of Juicy Road. Just wanted to let people know that. Thank you.
Joe.
Yeah, as Sonoma County is now out of compliance with submitting their housing element in a timely fashion, we, like almost everywhere else in California, are subject to the builder's remedy, SB 35. And so I have a question about that. I've seen a couple of articles recently about it, that builders are not anxious to jump on it, but some are. One thing I read suggested that only urban areas where there is direct connection to other developments, similar medium density housing, could be subject to the builder's remedy, which means they go around many requirements offered by the county. My big question is, does the builder's remedy apply in unincorporated areas? Because it did specify urban.
That's a great question. And I was only briefed on the builder's remedy at a very high level by our county council. And so my understanding is that the builder's remedy would apply in unincorporated areas, but I can double check with respect to exactly where it would apply. Because obviously we have plenty of areas that don't even have access, to sewer or water systems. And so I can definitely ask for a more complete analysis that I would be able to disseminate to all of you and follow up with you if that's okay.
Thank you.
Vesta.
The FOR 3, 5, and 6, where you're saying there's an environmental justice issue with the one site. They seem like they're excellent sites for affordable housing, in that, for one thing, the county owns one of them. Also, there was talk about having the skate park be part of one of those parcels. And also the concept of a disaster preparedness or a disaster center, that would be one of those parcels. Would either the skate park and the disaster preparedness center be a sufficient protection setback from the sewage treatment plant, or would the skate park be also subject to the environmental issues in terms of the pathogens flying in the air? Is that an issue for that? Because we'd really love to have our skate park. How can we get the skate park part of the public infrastructure project and get it in somewhere close to downtown?
Great questions. I'm wondering, can you all hear me if I keep my video off? It was a little sketchy for a while, but I think I'm in a decent spot. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, I'll be able to keep my video on then. So you actually raised another point that I forgot that I had made with staff as well, which is that the Department of Emergency Management does have federal funding to move forward with having a disaster preparedness building on one of the sites that is proposed for housing. And so I actually specifically asked if it would be possible to split zone the sites. It's actually more work, but it would enable us to have, it would be fewer units of housing, because there would be other uses on the site, but that's how we could potentially attain, say, both the skate park as well as the housing, and then sort of, both the housing and also the disaster preparedness building. When I was researching setbacks from sewer system plants, I found a study from Cambodia, that was done about wastewater treatment plants in Phnom Penh, and that actually suggested 300 meters as a setback to residences. So I couldn't figure out how to do that with Google Maps on the site. But one of the conversations I also did have with someone who is working on the DEIR was the idea of split zoning the parcel that is adjacent to the wastewater treatment facility. In other words, creating a buffer, but then looking at potentially, so the site to the north of the wastewater treatment facility, for instance, you could potentially have some workforce housing closer to Pajaro Lane. So it would be kind of in line with the other housing and then still have a buffer between the housing and the wastewater treatment plant. I don't think that the concern was as great for the ones that were already sort of, across the street, and then would also have, the additional setback because the road yard is there as sort of the, across the street neighbor.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. I don't see any more hands up with council members, so
Oh,
let's.
Wait a minute. I
Oh.
do have one more question if we can do this.
Yep.
Lynda, the FR1, is it even possible to have that be housing? It would be so perfect for senior housing. Is it possible, or is it really off the books because of the environmental hazard?
That's a great question, and one that I think really needs more investigation. I think that's one of the really frustrating things about this DEIR is that it is sort of a mile wide and an inch deep. And so, as members of the community, like, we want more information. I still don't understand why, for instance, I talked to Sonoma water staff the other day, and the Russian River County Sanitation District was actually not formally consulted about whether or not, sewer service could even extend to those parcels at the end of Laughlin. Similarly, I've heard that Forestville Water District was not actually consulted with respect to, sewer adequacy. And it sounds like they would actually potentially need to install new pipes in order to serve, some of these developments and actually make major upgrades to the plant itself. And so my frustration is that we haven't been able to get into that level of analysis either on Forestville 1 or really on any of the sites. And so it's just not, it has not been very satisfying, I will say. But I have the same question that you do, and I unfortunately don't have any more information.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks. All right, we're going to go to public comments or questions. I'm scrolling. I don't see hands up. Am I missing something? Oh, wait, we got one hand up, but I don't see who it is. Oh, Bob.
Hi, thank you very much for allowing me to make my comments. I'd like to first start out by thanking Supervisor Hopkins, because she responded back to me when I expressed my concerns about Moscow Road and the issues with the two road collapses. So earlier in the call, there were comments made regarding some rezoning for housing, which raised concerns about egress and ingress in the event of emergencies. So, and I realize that repairs on both ends of Moscow Road are to be started this spring, early summer, when the area dries out. But the other concern that is still present is what happens in the interim in the event of house fires or medical emergencies, because we know that the west end near Cassini Ranch and Duncan's Mills has been closed, as reported in the Friends of Villa Grande site, was just recently closed and nobody knew who did it. And so that drops us down to one way in, one way out. And I realize the roads, Start Hill and Mesa Grande Terrace, those areas can also lead out to the fire station, but I have a full-size F-250 pickup and I could not fit my truck through on those roads. Okay, the other concern is that in the event of a house fire or medical emergency, has anybody determined if on multiple occasions fire trucks and or ambulances can navigate the east end break near Monterey more than one time? Because again, I've taken my truck through there and there's not a lot of room for it. And the fire trucks are a lot bigger and a lot heavier. In the event of fires, you're going to have multiple trucks going through there. So my question is, what's being done to address that? And perhaps a recommendation is that we, the fire district station a truck in Villa Grande where it can respond to
Hey,
fires.
Bob, excuse
Yeah.
me.
I'm
You've-
sorry.
You've run over your time, and we were
Okay, but
actually
you got the gist of it.
yeah, but we were actually talking about housing element. So if
Oh, I'm sorry.
that's all right.
I apologize. I apologize. Okay. I'm sorry.
If you can hold that, I'm sure Johannes might have some answers for you on that particular question. And if you can talk about that when we come up to roads, that would be helpful. But we're going to go on to the next person, which is Becky, and this is specifically about the housing element that Lynda was talking about.
Go ahead, Becky.
Hi, thanks for having me. Yeah, thanks for having me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Hi, sorry, HughesNet. Thank you for all of this. I was passing out flyers, and I know that we were on a major push to get people to send in letters and correspondence by 5 o'clock on the 13th. I'm wondering if there's still a purpose in sending in questions and comments and so forth anyways, since we're past this. I'm also wondering how I can possibly, if I can, help back things by getting the study about the GI treatment plant issues, as well as, I'm curious, do the same owners that own Forestville 2 also own the 3 APNs that provide the possible the possible access to Nolan Juicy and Mirabel? And as the guy that owns Forestville 4, I'm assuming he also owns that private driveway, and I'm guessing that's parcel 9 that he owns. And is there access from Travis?
Those are great questions. So number one, I would say that comments are absolutely still valuable, but at this point, you would probably want to send them to a few different places. So definitely still send them to the the address that was posted for the staff who are working on the DEIR, but then also make sure that it goes to the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors, because ultimately that is where the sort of decision points will be. And so it's really important to make sure that the Planning Commission and the full board, not just me, right, are hearing the concerns of the residents. Now, I will say that I was not able to pull the assessor's parcel information myself, but I have been told by trusted members of the community that in the case of the Nolan Juicy parcel, it is the same ownership for the access points and for the large parcel that is slated for upzoning. But I'm not actually sure that that matters or not, because you still wouldn't have that parcel have its own independent right to access, because those other parcels could be sold independently. I've also been told, again, by someone that I trust in the community, that the Van Keppel parcel, the separate APN on which the driveway sits, is actually owned by a different person. So that is, again, what I've been told. And in order to get the sort of who owns it, I believe you have to actually go into the assessor's office in person, and I haven't had a chance to do that. So I can only report it as what folks have informed me. But I would say definitely keep the comments coming. And I look forward also to having the conversation at the Forestville Town Hall.
Right, Lucy.
Thanks. My question was pretty similar to Becky's in terms of communicating with our constituents about the parcels under consideration. And is there a best link for information as I write the Forestville Gazette column, et cetera, to kind of have people still feel empowered and able to communicate? So any suggestions there?
Yeah, I'm hoping that Leo can share it via chat, just since I'm on my phone. But even if you actually just Google housing element DEIR Sonoma County, it is the first thing that pops up. And there is a landing page that has a link to the DEIR. It has the email address, which I believe is permitsonoma-housing@sonoma-county.org. Leo, could you just confirm that for me?
Great.
I don't want to
That's
say the wrong
right.
thing.
And they're in the chat if you open the chat right now at 5:50. So yes, there's the website for the housing element, and that's the best official Permit Sonoma page. And there are links to everything there. There's links to the housing element, there's links to the DEIR, there is a subscription link there. And we've been asking them to improve the page. So that page is there in the chat. And then, yes, Lynda got the email address right. And at the land use subcommittee meeting, we got confirmation, absolutely still use that address. So it's permit Sonoma as one word, -housing at sonoma-county.org. And then that, I mean, there's still plenty of hearings going forward so that this will make sure that your comments are captured by the staff. And as Lynda mentioned, it is of course welcome to, you know, share your thoughts with the Planning Commission so they know what's happening. But especially once there's some more concrete package for them to review, then, you know, your comments could be more directly relevant. But for now, you know, you can continue your proactive work so that maybe some of these things can even be addressed by staff in advance.
Great, thanks. Jason, if I'm
We don't have any additional hands raised, Chair, but we do have one question for the supervisor in the Q&A, and I'll read that out. It's from Susan Sampson. I've been an affordable housing specialist in Greater County for the past 15 plus years. I'm curious if you may consider low density, quote, scattered site, unquote, housing sites, which limit the population burdens on the river road, etc.
That is a great question. And, you know, I will say that one of the things about this process that's really frustrating is that I have actually come up with some other sites that I think would be much better supported by the community than some of the sites that have been proposed, sites with better access points, sometimes sites that are just closer to downtown, sites that were identified in previous kind of community processes like during redevelopment. And unfortunately, because as it was mentioned, we are already late on this. And, you know, the builder's remedy is already in force. And essentially, it sounds like there are two separate late deadlines. One is 120 days sort of after the due date. The due date was the end of January. Another is 1 year out. We actually we don't have enough time to do a new EIR on new housing sites. Which is very, very frustrating to me because I feel like if we had had a community planning process, we could have brought forward other more creative sites. And that's unfortunately not possible at this point. I am, however, exploring other alternatives instead of sort of adding new housing units in unincorporated Sonoma County. For instance, we could actually work to make existing developments that are market rate and convert them into affordable. And I've actually reached out to Burbank Housing about a possible partnership with the county on this. And that is actually something that Rohnert Park has included in their housing element. And so they haven't gotten, you know, approval from the state yet, but it's definitely a program that we could consider. I'm also very interested in how do we look at other programs for junior ADUs and ADUs, you know, granny units, and seeing if we could get some units out of some programs like that. And by the way, I'm sorry that I'm so creepy. I'm like by this sort of lamp post that's flickering off and on the side of a road. So I know I kind of look like I'm in a horror.
well, and now you're on mute.
That was it. Sorry.
All right. All right, thanks. I don't see any others. Jason, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you all. We're gonna move.
Actually, I do see, sorry to interrupt, one question from Kyla, which is what stopped us from being on time with this issue? And that's a great question. Basically, by the time this issue sort of came to me, we were already late, which was very frustrating because then it feels like there's a sense of urgency and emergency. I guess the good news is that we are in good company and that the majority of cities and counties in the state of California are late on this, partly because of sort of the tight turnaround time that the state has laid out. But I'm sorry, I don't really have a better answer for you other than that staff was late. It's happening late, and I can definitely try to look more into that.
All right, thanks. Sorry, I've got a little cold too. We're gonna move to introductions and oath of office. We have a whole bunch of new council members. Leo, were you doing this or
Well, I have the pleasure of doing the swearing in, but I wasn't sure if how you wanted to handle introductions. Do you have something specific in mind?
Elise?
I mean,
I understand, Leo, you're now leading the swearing in. What else is?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you wanted to introduce who everyone was, but I mean, I can read it off of the agenda. So we have Vicky Clues, who is with the Hacienda District. And I understand, you know, there was the issue raised about, anyway, Joe Rogoff with Guerneville, Betsy Van Dyke with Pocket Canyon, Patty Thayer with Monterey Villa Grande as the alternate, Kathleen Dahl for Guerneville as the alternate, and Gregory Hennig with Pocket Canyon as the alternate. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the oath of office, and I'll try to chunk it so that you can just repeat after me. So if everybody who
Leo,
is sworn in can unmute, that would be great. Go ahead.
Leo,
Yes.
I just want to ask, we have a Kathleen with no last name in the attendees list. And Kathleen, if you are indeed the Kathleen Dahl, if you could raise your hand, I will promote you.
That's great. I'll pause to see if that is the right Kathleen. And when I recite, I'll say I and then state your name and say your name instead of state your name when we have that part.
Okay, thank you, Kathleen. We do have Kathleen Dahl with us. Leo, it's all yours.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. So if everybody who is being sworn in can unmute, I'll go ahead and start, and you can repeat the oath of office after me. All right. Kathleen, you unmuted and then remuted. Okay, great. Sounds like we've got everyone. So for the office of Sonoma County Lower Russian River Municipal Advisory Council. Go ahead. And
For the office.
For the office.
I'll start us over again. So for the office of Sonoma County Lower Russian River Municipal Advisory Council.
For the office of the Lower Municipal Advisory Council.
I state your name, do solemnly swear or affirm.
I, Betsy
Kathleen Dahl, do solemnly swear and affirm
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support and defend the
United States
And the Constitution of the State of California.
and
the Constitution of the State of California
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against
all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance.
that I will bear true
faith and
allegiance
To the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California.
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of
California.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge.
And that I will well and
Faithfully discharge
The duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties upon which
that
I
I'm about to enter.
Great. Thank you, everyone. You are subscribed and sworn to me this date. February 16th, 2023. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Sorry, wouldn't unmute. Now it's time to move on to officer elections. Every year, everyone knows we elect a chair and vice chair to lead the Lower Russian River Municipal Advisory Council. So now's the time for the council to nominate someone for chair.
I would like to nominate Pip Marquez de la Plata to continue being our chair. You do such a great job.
Oh, geez.
I'd like to second that.
Anyone, and any other nominations? All right, so let's take a vote and do a roll call.
So Vesta nominated and Lisa seconded.
No, I seconded me.
Betsy, okay, thank you. There we go. And Vesta,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Joe,
Joe,
did we lose Joe?
Joe, you're on mute.
I actually wasn't, but I said yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. Nick,
Present.
is that an I or a nay?
That's an abstain.
That's an abstain. Okay. Betsy,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Pip,
Yes.
and Patty.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
All right. So let's move on to vice chair. I would like to nominate Miss Nominson to be vice chair this time.
I will second that.
Uh,
Go ahead, Vicky, go for it.
I second that.
Any other nominations? All right, let's do a vote and a roll call.
Okay, so that was Pip
Are
and
you,
Vesta.
are you okay with that, Lisa?
I'm okay with it. Thank you. I'm honored.
All right. Okay, let's do roll.
Are there any other nominations?
There was no other nominations.
Oh, okay.
Vesta,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Nick,
Abstain.
Betsy,
Yes.
Cynthia. Oh, I'm sorry, Cynthia is absent. Mike,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Pip,
Yes.
and Patty.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
All right. We are going to move to Mr. Johannes with, this is everyone's favorite topic, by the way, of roads. So you are very much the star this evening.
I don't know if I should talk now, Pip. Maybe I just should stay quiet. So thank you.
Was Janice joining us, or
Janice is here. Yeah, actually,
okay.
Janice is the star. I'm just going to talk a little bit, and Janice will fill in the gaps.
I don't see her. Why?
She's here. I see her on the screen. Janice Thompson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So thank you, Pip. Thank you, Supervisor Hopkins. And just because I'm a nerd and I like Google Maps, I'm going to share with Supervisor Hopkins the what 300 meters is around the yard. So that is the Forestville yard, and that's what 300 meters is 984 feet. So it's roughly that area here where we see, and then we do like a radius and we stay with 900. That's about what would cover ourselves. So that's that. So I'm prepared to talk today about Moscow Road, the Forestville pedestrian project, the Villa Grande, and Rio Nito. I don't know that is a particular order that I want to start, but how about we start with Rio Nito? Is that okay, Pip? I think you're familiar with that area.
By me.
Okay. So we have the drainage project going. I know that we removed some of the vegetation in the weight of the project. We're working with the real property team, and we've had agreement from the property owner to establish the easement. Other than that, I think we're doing good. We're ready to go to construction. Our forces are going to do part of the construction, I believe, Janice. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So we are on track and ready to do that project this year. Not sure if you have any questions, Pete, on that, but that's what we have.
That's great. I know the Upper Canyon 6 was taken off the list because of the way that FEMA asked for the numbers to work.
Right.
And I just like to figure out another way. And you've seen how water comes down.
Right.
And it, like, this last rain did a whole bunch more damage.
Right.
And so I agree that just paving the roads is not the answer.
Right.
But I would like to be able to explore another way to get that culvert work done from Upper Canyon 6, because it affects everything downhill from there in Canyon 7 and up to the fire station.
Yep. We would do that. No problem.
Okay.
Let's go to Villa Grande. I know I've seen Kayla on the list of attendees. Which actually, so this is the Villa Grande drainage study. So how this came about, we had a request to pave the roads in Villa Grande. I went out to the side, met with some members of the community. We agreed that paving was not going to be the answer if we didn't do some drainage improvements. We had some grant funding to do a drainage study. The drainage study is going to help us address nuisance flooding, but it's not going to prevent major flooding on Villa Grande because of the geography or where we are. So we did a study. We've identified the installation of new culverts and some backflow preventers or preventing measures from the river to prevent early flooding. What we did is we are asking for infrastructure funding, I think about $150,000 for the new improvements, which is the backflow preventer. And if you haven't seen the study, I have pictures here. I can show you what they look like. And then the county would do with their maintenance forces, would do the grading, replacing of the existing culverts. And once we have the work done, then we can program the paving on the next pavement preservation program. So that is the plan with Villa Grande. Any questions with that? If not, we'll move to Forestville. Forestville it is. So Forestville, we've been working with Supervisor Hopkins, I want to say now for about 4 or 5 years. Finally, we have a design project. We've been working with the community, and this includes sidewalk and pedestrian improvements and bike improvements from Mirabel and 116 to Covey, realigning the intersection on Covey. We've had meetings with the community. We are expecting to advertise the project to construction late February or early March. We had one tweak that came in late, request to work with the community to add light poles or light standards to the sidewalk. And we're trying to fit that without delaying the advertising of the project. So I think worst case scenario, we will install the infrastructure and have some openings in the sidewalk for later installing them, but we'll do whatever we can to work with the community to make that happen. And that is Forestville. Moving to Moscow Road, in 2019, we had a flood event, disaster declared. We had 2 slide sites in Moscow, and we have been working since 2019 with FEMA and Cal OES to install 2 retaining wall. Yes.
Can I
Yeah.
break in just a second? We have a couple
Oh, yeah, please. Go ahead.
panelists, and are you holding all questions till he goes over all the aspects, or?
Oh, Pip, you're muted.
I was, yes.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right.
Yes,
Hi,
in Moscow
it's
Road.
nice to meet you, Pip.
Oh, boy.
Mhm.
That was my Siri, sorry.
Yeah. So, Moscow Road, we have the two sides. We're gonna start construction on the two sides. We were gonna advertise for construction on January 28th, and we had everything ready to go. The project's been designed, been approved by FEMA for funding. And then on January 4th, we had a significant storms come in, storm event, and we had another site 200 feet, about approximately 186 feet from one of the existing slides. The next day, we were on site. We did a damage assessment. I called Supervisor Hopkins, and we agreed that we are not going to sit again for another 4 years for FEMA to approve funding for the project. So we've come up with a plan. We're going to go to the board March 14th, ask for the board for authorization to proceed with advanced construction, and ask FEMA for advanced construction, which is we borrow money to do the project and work with FEMA to be reimbursed later. There's a risk of not being reimbursed, but I think it's worth taking the risk so we can bid the project, I want to say in April, and build all three sites at the same time. The next day after I talked to Supervisor Hopkins, we engaged a consultant, so the project is being designed. Regulated agencies have agreed to amend the environmental permits to let us do this project at the same time. So all the stars are lining up with all the partners except FEMA yet, but we're not going to let that stop us. We're going to continue and try to go to open bids in maybe late May, June, and start working this year on all three sites. When it comes to the detour, I heard some of the comments from a prior speaker. We have built King Ridge Road from a 2019 disaster. We built Summerhome Park. I want to say Memory Lane, and Janet can help me on this, but we have worked with the community and with the neighbors to stage fire engines. The gates have been locked or designed to be opened by fire, public works, and some of the community members. Should there be a fire, we've had some fires in the summer on where we had to open Moscow Road. So we have learned how to do that and work with the community. So when it comes to the time of the detour, we'll work with the community. We have fire, we have radios, we have communications that we can make sure that everyone is safe should we have to escape the areas. And that is Moscow Road. I'm available for questions, or Janice. Did I leave anything, Janice, or?
Nope, it's
Everyone
all
can
out
go?
there and we'll
Okay.
take questions.
All
Okay.
right. Okay, let's start with council member comments. Vesta.
Yes, thank you for downtown Forestville. I know everybody's very anxious to get that accomplished, so it's a wonderful thing that it's moving forward, and I understand you'll be coming up with more details at the town hall on April 20th. I did want to ask about the River Road. I know that you're planning on doing a roundabout at the intersection of Mirabel and River Road. And I'm rather hoping that that can be extended down to this entrance to Steelhead Beach, that a center turn lane could be established at the entrance to Steelhead Beach. It is becoming increasingly dangerous, especially people coming from Guerneville toward coming east on River Road, turning into Steelhead Beach, and then people turning left onto Trenton Road, Argonne Way. People are going around them on the right towards the entrance to Steelhead Beach. It's getting more and more dangerous. And there was an accident there last year that was pretty serious. Since you're already working with the roundabout, can you extend it down to the entrance to Steelhead Beach? Is that a possibility?
So that's a softball for Janice, who has been all over that intersection. So Janice, take it.
Yeah, Vesta, I don't know the exact distance, but it's quite a ways away, from the intersection of River and Mirabel. So I don't know that it could be included in the roundabout improvements, but we could certainly look at any other improvements that could be made there to increase the safety.
It is line of sight. It is that close. And so one of the issues is when people come out of Steelhead Beach, they're not supposed to turn left because the line of sight is interfered with, especially looking left and right. So it becomes an issue, and a lot of people do turn left out of Steelhead Beach. So a center turn lane would increase the safety. I mean, I walk it every day because I feed cats down at Burke's Canoes. So it's a really short distance. And you're already coming out of the roundabout almost to that section. And if it could just go a few more feet down, it would be a really huge safety improvement.
Okay, got it. We'll see what we can do, Vesta. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Patty.
Yes, thank you. First, talking about the drainage in Villa Grande, you mentioned that you're asking for 150,000 for a project. Could you clarify who you're asking that money to provide that money, and exactly for what part of the study that of the recommendations that you made? And then finally, what's the timing on getting input about whether you're going to get that money?
Okay, so the funding we're asking, so the board allocated $2 million for infrastructure for each district. And we're working with the Supervisor Hopkins on many needs in District 5. One of the ask is in Casadero, another one is in Villa Grande. But what we're asking for is, let me share this with you real quick. This is part, have you seen the study?
Yes.
So this is what we're asking for, to install this preventers. And I think there's a culvert, 1 or 2 culverts that are new as part of the study. Everything else can be covered with road maintenance, the swales, the changing of the existing culverts. This is new. We don't have anything like this in any of our road system, I think, Janice, right? And
Right.
and it's something
we
new.
don't
It's,
have one.
yeah, it's interesting. I think it's a very effective way of preventing early flooding. So I think it's worth doing it. But we're asking for that. If we don't have, if we for some reason we don't get the request, then we'll have to put it on our capital improvement project somehow, and see where it would fit on our fiscal budget and what year.
When do you think you'll have an answer as to whether any of these improvements will be undertaken?
I don't know when we're planning on going through the board, Janice. I know we're working with the districts on requests and lists. And do you know, Janice, you have an idea?
Yeah, I'm guessing in the May, June area, Patty. I've got a couple things going in April, and then we'll work on these next few. So kind of in the May, June timeframe.
Okay, and I just would like to say, based on my conversations with everybody in Villa Grande, the greatest needs that we have are unrelated to the thing that you find very interesting and innovative to prevent early flooding. It doesn't really address the needs of this community, and I'm sure we'll talk with you all more on March 4th. And just 2 more questions. I don't want to take up too much time on the Moscow Road project. As construction proceeds, will there always be one or the other exit entryway open, or is it contemplated at some point during construction that both of those will be closed down and people would have to use the terraces? There's great concern about that. And also, you mentioned that start working this year on all sites. Do you have in mind when the sites would be repaired? Will it be this year?
So Janice, I'll start and I'll let you go. So I don't know how the construction is going to be phased. My preference would be that both sites are not closed at the same time. They may be both closed at the same time for periods of time, hopefully not exceeding more than a few hours. It all depends on the efficiency of construction. And sometimes if we close a road for a few days, it exponentially increases the way that we finish the project quicker and that way. So we'll have to work with the contractor on the logistics. That would be my preference. What else, Jan? What else did you
Yeah,
ask?
that's it. We've got work windows that we have to work within, right? For
Environmental.
environmental purposes,
Mhm.
we've got weather to avoid. So, but Patty, I would say it's not defined right now, but we would work with the community as it goes. We're still working on the design of the newest site, so we don't know what that looks like. So we're still developing all that information, and as soon as we have it, we'd reach out and start working with the community. But as Johannes said, sometimes a short duration of a double closure could be expected just to hurry along the construction. But again, we'll work with you.
Thank you very much.
Lisa.
Thank you. My question is about advertising the work for Forestville. Johannes, can you again state sort of the timeline for advertising and then where our town hall fits into that, which is scheduled for 4/20?
Okay. So the advertising is we advertise for bids, right? And have you seen the project or what the project looks like?
I saw 30% proposed construction drawings from last March. What was that, 2022's meeting, town hall? I haven't
Yeah.
seen anything past that.
So this is how the project is gonna look real quick. I know we don't have too much time, but I'll show you. This is how the project is gonna look. Sidewalk, there's gonna be some changes to the parking along the road. We're working with the group on the parking in front of the park. So that's in a nutshell how the project is gonna look. What we do is we advertise at the end of February or first week of March, and we advertise for 30 days for construction. And then after that, we are doing a pilot program that we don't have to go to the board this year to award the project. The board has authorized the department to award the project. So that cuts about a month and a half of the process. So I suspect by early May or mid-May, we probably be under construction.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Betsy.
I know it's not really on your agenda, but I have had neighbors asking me about Neely. We have constant trucks going on Neely to the treatment plant. Not to mention that it's our only ingress and egress should anything happen, and particularly at the S curves where the fire access road is that goes up to the Birch property. There's a culvert there that looks as if it's failing, and it could take the road out. And I've heard rumors that, first of all, we're supposed to get repaved sometime in the next 2 years. It hasn't been done in an extremely long time, although it's patched every now and again. And then the culvert, I had heard a couple years ago that the county was somehow engaged with conversations with the property owner who owns the property where the fire road goes up onto the hill. Birch, I think, that's his property. So I'm wondering if we can get any information on that. Or
So
anything, or if you can come back,
yeah, I
with
would,
something.
I can take the culvert part, and then Janice will do the road. How's that?
Okay, thank you.
So the culvert, I don't know, well, I guess I do, but I don't know what a culvert that is about to fail looks like. But if there is a culvert concern, if you can report it to SOCO, report it, or call us or give us a location, we'll definitely look at it and we'll go take a look and evaluate that culvert. If this is the culvert that you said that we were working with the property owner, if this is the culvert related to, there's going to be a timber harvest route or something like that. If it's that culvert, then that culvert is not about to fail. We've evaluated that culvert, and Janice is familiar with it as well. So I'll let Janice take the paving question.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Betsy, I'm looking up while we're talking here. I've got Neely Road scheduled to pave this summer, about 2.4 miles.
It'll be about most of it, actually.
Okay, so that'll be this summer then. And
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure which culvert you're talking about. We replace culverts that are damaged and in need of replacement with the paving project. It's not every culvert. Sometimes culverts look bad, but if they're kind of functional and just a little beat up, we budgetary reasons, we can't do everything, but the plan would be to replace damaged culverts and pave it this summer.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And
Yeah.
as far as the culvert goes, it's pretty much a citizen assessment.
Oh,
Someone
yeah.
came to me and said, that culvert is failing. And so I'm just asking the question.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Joe.
Yeah, just a quick comment. I heard you say that each district was allocated $2 million, and I just want to express something I've heard Lynda Hopkins say that I absolutely believe. We have way the hell more percentage of highway and road than any other part of this county, and having equal allocation makes zero sense.
Thank you,
So-
Joe. District 5 has 40% of the road system in Sonoma County, and we recognize that. And District 5 probably has the most challenging terrains or soils, so we are very aware of that. If you want my vote on getting 80% of it, you have it. Yeah, and Janice's too, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, and you've got 80%, or excuse me, sorry, 40%. You've got 40% of the roads and you have 40% of the paving funding. So the
Yeah.
funding for roads does match up with the boots on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Any other council members? I just have one other thing to bring up is when River Road was repaved, it's awesome, by the way. There were mitigation strips that crossed at about Canyon 2 from the 40-mile slowdown to the 25-mile-an-hour slowdown. And I hear they're in the works, but I just want to reiterate how important those are because people do speed through here. There was a fatal accident at the hardware store in Guerneville, and the person was speeding. The mitigation, I'm not saying that this would prevent that, but it is a thing that mitigates the level of speed that goes on out here from Corbell into Guerneville. So those mitigation strips, when they were put in, I personally felt that they made a big difference. People could debate that with me. So getting those in as quickly as possible, I think is really important.
Yep. Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Pip. It's also nice to meet you. Thank you for the Canyon 6 video of water running.
Mhm.
And that was 3 days after the rain.
Yeah.
And yes, those we call them rumble strips,
Right.
kind of attention getters, and they are coming back on both sides of Rio Nito in River Road. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Okay, I know there are a lot of questions out there, and we're going to get to all of them because I know this is a topic that everyone asks about all the time. So let's get at it. So S. Russell.
Hi, this is Shelley Russell. Thank you for letting me speak. I just wanted to underscore the urgency for Moscow Road, and I am very concerned when you even talk about double closure at the same time, although that would be expedient if you could, if one, I don't know if one construction company is handling both sites, but certainly I would hope that the, one site gets started sooner than May or June, because we're really sitting ducks there. And it's the Sterrett Hill and the Terraceway is just not acceptable. It's a one-way logging road that's been paved over, and it is so scary to drive that. And I can't imagine emergency vehicles, trucks that provide propane, or any of our vehicles can get through that. It's pretty crazy. So please, if there's any way this project could start sooner than June, I really, that's when we have a huge influx of people that come in for the summertime. And I'm also concerned about the water. I understand that the water pipe is kind of taken out or damaged in that second slide, and that we have Sweetwater Springs has kind of done a go around. So it's now coming out of a 2-inch pipe. So I've noticed that the water pressure is less. And we were told that that's quite a concern. So thank you. Those are my comments.
Thank you. Lori. You're on.
There we go. Sorry about that. You're getting a twofer. It's my husband, Steve. We're both on together.
Hi, guys.
Hi there.
Hi. So I have a couple of comments. One is regarding propane delivery. I did on Moscow Road. I live on Moscow Road about halfway. I'm actually right in the middle. We were having problems with getting propane delivery because of the washout on the east end, and the propane truck wouldn't go there. So fortunately, the Duncan's Mills, the west end was opened and they could deliver. I am now getting down to my red zone again on my tank, and I'm very concerned that I'm not going to be able to get the propane delivered. I'm not quite sure how the other road was closed off. If you look at the two roads between the new east damage and the old west damage from 19, on the west end of the road, it's much more secure than the east end of the road, which is the new washout. So that's my major concern, just having that the new washout being the only access is really, I don't think it's acceptable or safe. The pylons that were put up for about 6 feet of the road are no more than 4 inches from the edge of the asphalt. So if something could be done about keeping the other end of the road open for at least business hours, so the garbage trucks and the propane trucks could get there, that would be absolutely great. Because having the one road and I have a big truck, as somebody else pointed out, and it's just really hard to get through on Sterrett.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
That was timed perfectly. Alicia.
Hi there. My name's Alicia Chazen. I'm on the Forestville Planning Association. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. I have been the person on the FPA who has taken on the task of requesting the decorative lighting as part of the Forestville downtown sidewalk improvement. And I've been working, I had a conversation with Janice, and I've been working with Olivia. And I just wanted to say or report in that I think we've got some locations identified, and I'm just working with her to get some clarity on budget impact from the Forestville Legacy Fund. And everything seems to be going forward, and I just want to make sure that we do have the opportunity to get some decorative lighting, even if it means putting in the infrastructure in place earlier and then the actual light fixture install later. One thing I am concerned about is getting some community input, potentially at the April 20th town hall in Forestville. And I'm hoping either Johannes or Janice, if you could communicate with Olivia, if there are any other light fixture designs that we could consider. It would be nice to have some options and to understand whether or not they address our concerns about dark sky and maybe having banners and power and things like that. Olivia has, I know she's busy, but I'm just hoping that you guys can facilitate getting some answers back to me so that I can communicate with the board and also communicate with the community. And thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Chris McCook. Chris, you want to unmute?
Okay, thanks for the opportunity to speak. Imagine you can hear me now?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. I own a house just downstream from the Monterey slide, and I completed two projects over the years to stabilize riverbanks on the first 3 houses downstream from that slide. I just want to say a few things. First, I support the others with their request to open Duncan's Mills, and I suspect the reason it is closed is to reduce through traffic. And so I'd recommend putting a no through traffic sign on the Bartlett's End side of the road, as well as a weight limit sign, so people aren't riding on that slide there, because I think I agree it is rather hazardous, and that someone without realizing may be driving too big of a truck on it and have a problem, which we don't want to see. So I just heard that there may not be water going through that, what looks like an 8-inch water main. Does anyone know if that is true? Okay, the thing is just looking at it recently, it appeared to me that it actually has started to bend. It looked like it was straight initially, and it looks like it may be bending at this point. If that was to break, we'd have a real disaster there. So that's a concern, is that that's that water pipe. And I'm also thinking that an emergency stabilization job could potentially be done there rather than waiting, because if we do get another storm, we could have real problems there and lose the road completely. And yeah, that's about sums it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrea.
Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me. Let me know.
Yep.
Okay, thank you so much. This is Andrea Buffa. I live in Monte Rio on the terraces, those windy roads above Moscow Road. I hope the supervisor is still on the call and hasn't left, because I really want her to hear the concerns of the people in the local community. I agree with what other people are saying. Like, this is a security risk. Our safety is at risk. I am not confident that the temporary repair has widened the road or has stabilized the road. I'm not an engineer, so I can't tell, but it sure looks super narrow. It's certainly scary for me to drive through it. So I'm concerned about the temporary fix. The bus can't get through. We don't know about the propane tanks. I would love to know if an emergency vehicle can get through. And if not, if we have a health emergency, if we have a house fire, if we need to evacuate, we're at risk. I'm also concerned about how long the repairs on the Cassini Ranch side of the road are going to take. I agree with what other people have said. Honestly, the Cassini Ranch side was wider. It was easier to get through. Now it's been closed again. I don't understand it. And reading some of the documentation that you provided to this group in the past, it said that repairs could take years. I'm like 100% hope that is not the case. So Johannes, I appreciate all your work. We love the fact that you come out to our community, but It's not personal. We need to have this fixed as soon as possible, both an improved temporary fix and a long-term fix. We can't wait until fire season. It is just not safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Homer.
Okay, hi.
Hi, Rich.
I want to thank you for all the attention and the promise to fix Moscow Road this year. The the other slides have really dragged out. But I have a couple of comments. One is that during the construction, it's imperative that we have prompt emergency vehicle access, and however that's done, either by staging or by having flaggers that can allow emergency vehicles through. If they have to go up Starrett Hill, it really delays them getting here. I mean, it's a 10-minute drive versus a 2-minute drive. And that could be the difference of, life or death for somebody who's having a medical emergency. So, and then I also want to make a comment that I agree that the gates to between Villa Grande and Duncan's Mills should be reopened. That the slide between Villa Grande and Monte Rio, to the untrained eye, looks really unstable, and it could break away again, and then we don't have really any acceptable way in or out. If the gate was open to the west, it would allow us another egress if something was to happen on the Moscow Road part. So those are my two comments. I hope we get it all done this year. It'd be great. Thank you for all your work.
Thanks, Rich. Suki?
Okay. Press Alt A. Do I need to press Alt A?
We can hear you, Suki.
We can hear you, Suki.
You've muted yourself, Suki.
Am I unmuted now?
Yep, you're good. We can hear you.
I can't believe I've been Zooming for 2.5 years and I haven't figured out how to do this. Okay, I'm not going to be repetitive. I'm Suki Rob Wilder. I live in Villa Grande and I'm on the board of Sweetwater Springs Water District and also the board of the Friends of Villa Grande. I will tell you a little bit about why it's going to be a great danger for us until both Moscow Road and the water main that runs along it are repaired immediately. Without the water main, we don't have any water for fire flow. In fact, we don't have quite enough water right now. Normally, the water does go through that 8-inch main that the gentleman earlier, I think it was Chris McCook, was talking about. Because it has buckled along with the road, we are going up the hill and around through a 2-inch pipe. So you can imagine how that flow is reduced from an 8-inch main to a 2-inch pipe to everything downstream of the slide. We have more than 250 water hookups that are affected. If you just take I don't know how many people that is, but if you take a conservative estimate, like 2 people per hookup, that's at least 500 people. And that's just now. We have many more people who come in the summer, as we know. But so right now we have no fire flow. And we're also at Sweetwater Springs getting calls from people who live up near where Shelley is about water pressure and water pressure problems. There will be a lot more questions and discussion at the March 4th meeting for everybody. Please come if you're interested. 10 o'clock in the morning, we'll be talking with Lynda Hopkins and Johannes and Janice. I hope you're there too, because we will need to talk about the drainage study also. It's in Monte Rio Community Center. Thank you.
Thanks, Suki. Ruben.
Hi, my name is Ruben Garcia, and I live in the Terraces.
You know, I don't want to repeat the talking points that some of my neighbors have used, but you know, my wife and I have been there for about 12 years. And every year our roads and structure looks better than the year before. It seems to me that the county doesn't maintain the roads, and that's why the storm just destroyed them. Every time we have a storm, a big storm, something bad happen. I don't think this is acceptable. The two things that we expect from the county as a homeowners is protection and roads. And I don't think we're getting any of those right now. So it's really important that that these two the damage gets fixed this year, way before the fire season. And also, I was totally amazed how good compared with the new damage is the Duncan Mill side of the damage. I mean, for the first time in 4 years, we were able to drive that way. I'm sure that the businesses at Duncan Mills were appreciating the traffic flow, because for the first time we were able to get there easier. So I don't think this can wait. I think the county should get immediately in front of the situation and fix both sides of the road. So this is a county road. It's not a state road. It's not an interstate highway. So we're expecting that the county fixes and that maintains the structure, so we can have water, so we can get delivery, so we can get all these things that we really need. So I'm really going to be watching this for the rest of the year, because this needs to be done soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ruben. Chuck.
Hi, everyone. Chuck Ramsey. I live on the terraces. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Good. Okay, great. Many people have been talking about the difficulties of taking Sterrett Hill Drive as an escape route. I have tenants that live there. One thing that we have not talked about is a retaining wall slide that happened in 2017. Again, this is 6 years ago, longer than Moscow Road by far. I am happy to report, checking in this week with Johannes and Glenn and Cindy, that apparently the contract or the bid is about ready to be bid out for that, and hopefully the work will be done this summer. In the meantime, you know, it is narrow there. We do have problems with, as people said, emergency vehicles, propane trucks. Parking has been taken away. The fire hydrant has been decommissioned for over 6 years at this point. So I just wanted to bring that up, as it should get priority along with Moscow Road. Another thing people have been bringing up to me continually is, as Ruben said, protection. Moscow Road has RV units on it, meth addicts. It's not good. The second slide, there was an accident where a car almost went in the river, and apparently the car was shoved off the road by a meth addict. Another person who lives in Villa Grande has lost a tenant because tenant didn't want to live in that area, didn't want to put up with it anymore. We have another one in Sterrett Hill Drive that Leo's been working with for a long time. And I guess one of those tenants, the DA came up with a plea bargain agreement, and she needs to leave Monterey for a year. So we've been working hard, and I'm glad we're making some progress and we're getting some support from the county, but I just want to reiterate, we do need help. Thank you.
All right, thanks. We are going to get to everyone's comments. I just want to remind everyone, if you can keep your questions or comments as brief as you possibly can. We have a lot to get through on the agenda. I know this topic is a hot topic for people, so I do want to make sure we get everyone's comments, but if you can make your comments as brief as possible, that would be helpful. Thanks. Richard?
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Okay, my name is Rick Kreutzer. I live on Moscow Road, close to the 2019 washout. I've written 2 letters to local officials over the past 16 months, and I've spoken to many others. The main point of these letters, and my main point tonight, is that Moscow Road residents support repairing the road at both damaged locations. And we want improvements in the road that will support the safety, health, and comfort of the residents directly impacted by the large volume of traffic that will follow those repairs. I mounted a wildlife camera west of the Cassini Ranch driveway and counted traffic going in both directions for 6 days in July. Over those 6 days, I counted 3,131 vehicles, an average of 522 vehicles a day. We know that a large fraction of that traffic will use the east part of Moscow Road after it is repaired, and more traffic coming from Bohemian Highway or from points further west will use Moscow Road as a shortcut. This is a serious threat to Moscow Road residents' safety and well-being because the road is narrow, less than 20 feet wide in some directions. It has no shoulder or sidewalks. And west of Villa Grande, people drive over 50 miles an hour. There have been human and animal deaths and injuries. We're asking for 5 things and hope the MAC will support them. 1, work with us to establish 25-mile-per-hour speed limit from Monterey to the washout. 2, place signs and speed humps at appropriate intervals to help drivers maintain safe speeds.
Excuse me.
3, yes.
We're over the 2-minute time limit.
I have 2 more points to make.
Okay, if you can make them very quickly.
3, remove all passing lanes. 4, work with us to urge the major GPS companies such as Google and Apple Maps to designate Highway 116 the recommended route. And if current ordinances, laws, or regulations prevent the county from doing these things, tell us specifically what they are and work with us to change them.
All right,
Thanks a lot.
thanks, Ken. We're gonna move to Kyla.
Hi, this is Kyla Brook. I'm the president of Friends of Villa Grande, and I'm here because the board has asked me to speak to you, and thank you all so much for listening so carefully. There's significant issues in the community, as you have heard, arising from the multiple slides, and the community in general feels like we are living in a disaster mode. One definition of disaster is an event or a fact that has unfortunate consequences. The buses cannot come from Monterey to Villa Grande. We have people that rely entirely on the ability to use those buses to get in and out of our community as one issue. One of the things that's happening right now is that there have been times when one slide area is closed and the other one is open, and there has never been any notification of citizens about when these things are happening. And effectively, somebody can go to an area, discover it's closed, and there is no way to turn around on the road easily. People have to back up and to go into driveways or come up with other creative solutions. It's really dangerous. We are asking you to have both roads, both slide areas open, and B, to provide us with Nixle alerts in advance of work being done. It's a simple solution, and it means that people can get help. So we're asking for that, and it would be really helpful to also get a sign saying, this is now closed, go the other way. So those are things that can help us in disaster mode while we are waiting for this to be done to assist citizens in feeling more safe. And I really thank you all for your time and hope you will take action. Thank you.
Thank you. Harriet.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Harriet.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to thank all of you for all the work you do. First of all, I really, third, fourth, second, all the speakers before about the urgency of fixing Moscow Road. I've lived here 22 years. I live on the terraces, and I know it's really unsafe. It feels really unsafe. So I really urge you to, whatever you can do, I know you do, we are all on the same page that we want it done, but we don't want a mortality before we take action. So it's really urgent. And second, there was another speaker, I think it was Ruben, talking about the roads on the terraces, for instance, Mesa Grande Terrace from Forest down to Center. It's getting more and more unsafe. So I wonder if something can be done about that for all the reasons, the propane, the medical urgent vehicles, etc. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Harriet. Jeff?
Hi. Hi, this is Jeff Everingham. I'm a resident of the terraces above Moscow Road, and I will try to keep my comments brief. I mean, I really just want to echo a lot of the concerns that have already been presented by my neighbors, and just to really urge the county to to move as swiftly as possible to repair both slides, and also to underscore the concerns about the road conditions in our neighborhood. Generally speaking, I mean, the comment was thrown out that District 5 gets 40% of the roads budget. I've been in the area for 5 years, and I don't think I've seen any periodic road sort of rehabilitation in the time that I've been in the neighborhood. So I'd like to see that looked at more generally, but of course the slides on Moscow Road are really unacceptable and just need to be prioritized as much as possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff. Jessica.
Hi there, I'm Jessica Mahali, also a resident of the terraces, and also would just like to second what my neighbors are expressing about our concerns about safety and road conditions, and really appreciative of the work you're doing to get the funding and to get the advanced construction planning so that this work can move ahead regardless of whether the FEMA funding comes through. I'd also like to request a reopening on the Duncan's Mills side of Moscow Road. That just made life a lot easier getting in and out of the area. And thanks, that's it.
Thank you, Jessica. Shay?
Hi, my family's been on Moscow Road since there was a railroad track there. I've seen so many speeding cars. Yeah, you can fix the road, but when you fix it, all I ask is what Rick stated, is that you put speed humps, they're not speed bumps, so emergency vehicles can get through, and it doesn't, and get rid of the passing lanes. Of course, we're not for the opening, because now we can actually walk down there without feeling like we're going to get killed. People have now met their neighbors, and it's really brought the community closer by having the washout closed on the west side. Anyway, good luck with the money, but if you build it just safe and level, and no passing lanes, and a lower speed limit and speed humps. If people can get in out in emergency, that's great. But if you're going to be Joe Ricky Racer, you're not welcome on Moscow Road. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Bob.
Hi, first let me apologize for my earlier gaffe of jumping in too early. I apologize for that.
That's
So
all right.
listening to all the comments, you all understand what's going on and what people's concerns are. Yes, it's a speed raceway along there. We've had 2 cars flip over on our driveway right in that bend after the road into Villa Grande. So I understand that. Okay. But what it all boils down to is, and Mr. Hurwitz, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. I appreciate your comments earlier about during construction, having fire trucks and ambulances staged in Villa Grande. But the real concern is now, because if the fire trucks and the ambulances can't go on the east end from Monterey to Villa Grande because their weight, their size, etc., and we have nothing staged, it's either a 10-minute drive through the hills or it's a 25-minute drive all the way around River 116 through Duncan's Mills and around that way. And that could mean somebody's life. So we need to have something concrete now, because if somebody dies of a heart attack, a house fire, whatever, who's going to take responsibility for that? That's what this all boils down to, is what is going to be done now to safeguard the people that live on the road. And I'm just going to ask a question. How many of you have actually driven down there, besides the engineer, sir, and I apologize for mispronouncing your name. How many have driven down there to see how narrow the road is and what we face as far as danger from emergency vehicles not being able to get through? Thank you again for your time. Thank you for setting this up. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Just a couple more. Sarah.
Hi there. This is Sarah Paul on Moscow Road, and I wanted to reiterate the desire for a better Moscow, you know, with vehicular weight limits and more reasonable speed limits and restriping to eliminate the passing lane. Moscow, over the last 4 years with the closure, has actually been delightful. We can walk, we can bike, we can feel not endangered by people zipping between Duncan's Mills and Bartlett's, but we need to reopen the road, but let's do it as smartly as we can, so it is still a lovely place to live.
Thank you. Chris.
Hi, I just want to say thank you to the attention that's being given to the issues of Moscow Road. I'm also a resident of the Terraces. Johannes, thank you so much for being proactive in initiating that the construction plan. And I just want to voice that I support my neighbors' POVs that have already been presented. Thank you so much.
Sure thing. Christine.
Hi.
Hi. Christine, are you there? Ms. Ben?
Chris?
Hello?
Yes, Chris, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to say that, you know, having that house right down there, I've been watching the side of Moscow Road there for quite a while. I knew there was going to be more slides. Almost every time there's a significant rain, there is a slide there. It's just a matter of time before it's going to hit the road. This is going to happen and continue to happen if we don't do anything to stabilize the lower, you know, part of that toe of slope. It's kind of a stitch in time saves 90. And right now we have the emergency, but I mean, if we get ahead of it a little bit, we could prevent this from happening again. This will not be the last landslide on Moscow Road in that section. If we don't do something, but it can cost a lot less to just get the toe of slope secured there. There's various ways to do it. Like I said, I did some projects doing just that. And I know it's a little in advance, but I just want to put that out there so people start to think about, hey, preventative measures, why spend 10 million when we can spend, you know, 1 or, you know, to prevent the 10 million or 100 million from coming up. Thank you.
Okay. And I guess we lost Christine Benson. That is all I see with hands raised. Jason, am I missing anything?
No hands raised, but we do have 5 questions in the Q&A. I don't know how you would like to handle those.
If they are new questions, maybe we can go over that. We do have a lot to get through. And the others, if they have already been answered, we'll skip. And if Jason, maybe you can start from the top. I'll start from something I see that's new. Who should I contact regarding my proposal to do an emergency stabilization on the upstream slide? I fully support Ken's list and consider the traffic once Moscow Road is open. Another, this is from Ken Davis. Will reflectors be placed on the newly repaved River Road near Rio Nito? I don't know what reflectors he's referring to, but if he's the rumble strips, we know the answer to. And I think everything else has been answered.
Great.
So I think we're good. All right, I'm trying to read and I've got a cat bugging me. All right. Thank you guys so much for showing up to this. This topic of roads out here, as you know, is much talked about. So I really appreciate the time and hearing what people have to say.
Pip, is it okay if Janice and I address a few points real quick so we don't want to leave people in limbo? So Janice and I have been to the site, and I know Janice probably don't like me saying this, but we kind of have been doing this for over 30 years, right? So Janice and I have seen this type of failures and this type of challenges in road repairs for over 30 years. I can tell you that this is the second project that is keeping Janice and I awake at night. The first one was King Ridge Road in 2019, and that was a huge challenge. The situation that we have in the field is not ideal. We know that, right? And we're trying to do the best with the resources that we have and the programs that we have to make the best so we can keep the road open as much as we can, as safe as we can, to get it done within our system, right? So we have been to the site, I've been to the terrace, I have been to Moscow Road numerous times to see what we have. And we're more worried about the 2019 site than the 2023 site. And I'll let Janice explain that in a little bit. Having said that, I have been on the terrace side when sometimes my Prius hits the mirrors on the side, hit vegetation when I'm going up those roads. So we know the roads, we know the conditions. And we hear you. We want to get it done as fast as possible, realizing, and I want people to understand that we're doing something that it's not conventional to do what we're doing, but we think is necessary to open the road probably at the end of the year or soon thereafter. There's no restrictions on the weight of the road, existing road. However, propane and trash trucks may choose not to travel the road. And that is, I have written emails and statements to the roads are not closed. You can make it with your propane truck or your trash truck. The companies may choose not to do it. We are, and we will partner with Sweetwater Springs for the water line repair. We've done the same thing. We had a water failure also on West Side Avenue on 2019 as well. So we're familiar with that. I don't know the buses issue, Kayla, on Villa Grande, but there's no restrictions on weight. The Nixle alert, I believe the county is not using Nixle anymore, but I agree we need to do a better job communicating when we know that the road is going to be closed. And someone asked about the set of plans, if someone can share the design of the road repairs. We can set up a web page where we can put the plan set for the repairs. I think that's probably the best way to do it. And then Janice, you want to get into the technical thing of why the 2019 is worse than 23?
Yeah, sure. So what we know about the 2019 site is it's a culvert failure. There's an existing cross culvert that comes from the ravine upstream, and it's very deep. And the amount of storm water that came down in 2019 damaged the culvert, kind of blew it out. And so why we're more concerned about that site and why those gates are closed is because we fear further damage by opening the road to that damaged culvert and slip out. So the difference now to the new site, the 2023 damaged site, was, we think, we don't know for sure, but we know a tree fell down and into the river, and we think that that tree caused the river to eddy at that location and caused scour and caused the slip out. We have removed the tree from that site, and the action of the river has returned to a more normal state. So we feel the threat of further failure there is less. I also want to say that echoing Johannes, the travel lane space is adequate at the open site. It's more than a standard lane width, so there's no restrictions from our point of view. And I also wanted to address the emergency vehicle access during now is acceptable, and during construction, that's our #1 priority. And it is standard construction practice to shut down a job site and allow any and all emergency vehicles through. All of our contractors know it. It's written into every contract we have, and it is standard practice to stand down and put the highest priority to allow emergency vehicles through during a construction operation. So I think those were all my points I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Pip. Oh, you're muted.
Thank you guys very much. It was really informative, and people really wanted to hear information. Elise?
I just like to add to a couple of those points. We've all been going up and down Moscow Road many times. I've driven it every single week. I know that Lynda has been down it many times as well. One of the things that we've been working on is a collaboration with Sweetwater Springs. We've met with them, and we've gone over the issues of the pipe sizes and what repairs need to be done. And Johannes is working with them to do a collaborative work on the project. We're also looking at some further questions they had about whether they could move the pipes to the upside of the hill, and other questions they had. So we are working with Sweetwater Springs, so we're aware of that issue and are working to address those things. Several of you have brought up Mesa Terrace and paving. Since the paving, and correct me if I've got my figures right, Janice, but since we changed our allocation of roads funding in the last few years, we have repaved 20% of the roads in our area. Have I got that right, Janice? But we've been working every single year with the pavement preservation program to repave roads, but we have decades of systemic underfunding to deal with. And so we're going at them as best we can. Each year, we just finished a project where Debbie and I went through and drove every one of the roads that was up for consideration for repaving. And one of them that we have recommended for paving, which is going to go before the Board of Supervisors, is Mesa Terrace. We agree with you. That's a really scary road to drive. We basically went through and we ranked each road based on which of these are the absolute worst to drive. So the ones that we're prioritizing are the ones that are important evacuation routes and things that require the most repair. And you'll find that we have roads in every one of the MAC regions. We've picked several in each one, and that list of roads will be available for I believe it's the April 18th meeting. So we are working hard at repaving as many roads as possible. But as I said, we do have decades of underfunding to work on. And on the drainage study, we had
one thing you might want to mention is that what you and Debbie did was also work with each MAC council member to get community input from those communities to make those priorities.
We did get that We did get priorities from each MAC member. We also looked at the list of roads from people who had sent in requests for repairs to SOCO report it. And we also worked with Janice and her team on what roads they recommend for engineering. We gathered all the different roads from all these different things, and then we went out and drove them all and ranked them all based on our experience. So I think before Janice and Johannes and our team, these decisions were made from Santa Rosa and their engineers rather than direct experience. And we've worked to flip that script, and we're proud of the work that's getting done. There was one more thing. Johannes did ask for some additional infrastructure funding for the culverts in Villa Grande, and we have approved that from the flood mitigation budget. So we have that on our list. As he said, the reason why we haven't been repaving in Villa Grande specifically is because it's pointless until we do the drainage repair work, because the roads will just get torn up again. So that work is being scheduled and being funded. And then after that, we'll be doing the paving on top of it. So we're aware of the issue of the Villa Grande roads and we're working on them. Did I get that right, Janice? Jones, did you want to correct anything?
Well, thank you for reminding me that the project was from the flooding mitigation fund, because I remember we talked about this a while ago, but I have a lot of stuff in my mind. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great. All right. Thank you guys so much. But at
Thank
least
you and good night.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll be hearing from us.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Okay, Elise, governance study update.
Oh, I'm back up.
Yeah, I'll just say one thing that we had talked about. This is an important project for all of us out in the Lower Russian River. So we hope to have a very brief summary on agendas moving forward on this topic, so we can all keep informed as the process moves forward.
Yes, and we had a fantastic community meeting with close to 150 community participants. We brought in interpreters, so we were able to get the input from our Latino community as well. And we've received a lot of fantastic feedback. In order to get updates on the project, there is a website, rivergov.com. And updates will also be on Lynda's page, but at the moment, I believe that they updated it on rivergov.com. You can also, on that page, there is a survey. We've received over 180 responses to our survey, asking people what their key issues are and what it is that we need to be working on. And you can find that at rivergov.com, and you can participate in the survey. If you haven't already gone in and done that, you can do that. You can also sign up to get updates on this project. The team that led the community meeting, our consultant Blue Sky is putting together a community report based on that. And we're starting to work on the companion piece to this, which is people going out and not people are going and our consultants working with county departments to analyze our service costs, versus other areas in the county and other municipalities of similar size, and also looking at an analysis of our tax breakdown. Where are our taxes going, and how are they used towards our local services or not used towards our local services? So this is ongoing, and as Pip said, we're going to have a report on this every single month.
All right, thanks, Elise. Any questions or comments from the council? No, public. Suki.
I am,
Okay, good. I think I unmuted successfully this time.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay. First of all, I want to thank you, Elise, for the report and for the governance conference. It was, I found it excellent. I re-met so many wonderful, caring, concerned people, and we brought up so much that was important. And I see that the website has been updated since this afternoon, actually. I haven't seen the slide. I was hoping to see the slides from the presentation. Some of them were quite insightful in terms of context. And also, I'd like to know what organizations were contacted and who was interviewed separately as opposed to just part of that workshop that we had. I just want to make sure everyone is covered. And I sent an email, I think I may have copied you on it, to Peter, the man who ran it. I wonder if I can step aside for a moment to just thank you about something else. At least you have been invaluable at helping our new Sweetwater Springs general manager get his place in our milieu. He speaks very highly and is very thankful of the way you've been able to introduce him to people and help get him organized. He's from Cazadero. He's lived here since 2007, but he's been doing all his work up on Sea Ranch. So he doesn't know our area as well as he might. I want to thank you for that.
Thanks
so much. It's my pleasure. He's a really he's a great solutions oriented guy, and I look forward to working with him further. In terms of your RiverGov questions, your governance study questions, what we did was we reached out for the stakeholder interviews to service-oriented organizations, not all the organizations, not the social organizations, for example, but to the service-oriented organizations. So all the community service districts in the area, all the nonprofits that are doing things, for example, the Friends of Villa Grande, Russian River Alliance, people that are providing governance type local services. And the idea behind that was that they would be able to bring in feedback and commentary from their organizations, from their community organizations, and be able to share that information out so that it would have a ripple effect. So we didn't pick organizations or stakeholders that are one people or that are social organizations. We went for who are the governance services leaders in the community. And many of those organizations were the ones that stood up at the beginning of the governance study and introduced themselves. We did ask the consultant to have that information updated on the website by this meeting. And apparently part of it has been updated and not all of it, but they do plan on adding the slides, and they also plan on adding the audio of the general session parts of that meeting. I'm afraid that the video just stunk. We had some people where they got really close to the owl and all we see is their stomach. And we had others where people were too far away. So we're learning how to use the technology, and it was unfortunately not great this time. So we didn't just, but the rivergov.com is being regularly updated. They'll have more up there soon, and we'll keep sending you there.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I don't see any other public comments.
I don't see any other either. So we're going to move on. Thank you, Elise, to staff reports. So Mike.
Thank you, Chair.
Land use.
Your land use committee held a 1 hour 58-minute meeting on February 9th to approve our consent calendar, review 1 staff presentation and 2 issues. And rather than to go into a long discussion, because basically a lot of the discussion that we had was mirrored in tonight's meeting, we defined land use, and we had a staff update on the Moscow Road repair project. We had public comment, and we had comment from our committee members as well. Secondly, we reviewed the Gernwood Park Notice of Intent to adopt a revised mitigated negative declaration pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA. And basically, the committee was presented to correspondence from the Department of Fish and Wildlife, and the public was advised the initial study mitigated negative declaration will be recirculated for a second time. So there'll be an opportunity for additional public comment on that. Lastly, we had an overview of the housing element and the draft environmental impact report. We reviewed a lot of the discussions that were that actually took place earlier in tonight's meeting. We had committee members comment on lack of infrastructure, whether or not the lots were appropriate. We had substantial amount of public input. And that pretty much concludes the report. Now, there's a detailed attachment in the packet for this evening. And that report, the full written report, is in the packet. And I think that concludes my comments. So I'm looking for any questions from
Any council comments? Vesta.
Mike, could you let people know where they can get a recording of that meeting? Because it had a lot of information that people need.
I'm glad you asked that question. If you look at the report that is in the board packet, it will state that the meeting was recorded and a video is available at the District 5 YouTube website at www.youtube.com/Sonoma County 5th District /videos. And perhaps Leo can put that in the chat, but it is also in the report that I had submitted for this meeting.
Great, thank you. Jason, I don't see any hands raised in public. Are you seeing the same thing I am? Oh, we got one. Cynthia.
Jason has left the building, but I am here. And it is Cynthia Stricker.
That was Cynthia? If that was you, you're breaking up.
You can go ahead, unmute yourself.
I don't think that's the issue, but
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay, thanks then. I did want to make a couple comments about the lodge. I have a number of concerns about the lodge, which I know a lot of other people do as well. And I guess one of the overarching things that I'm seeing is that the developer seems to have chosen to ignore a number of county regulations and standards. For example, one of them is like the traffic report. The traffic report is way out of date. It was done in 2018, which makes it 5 years old. Now, according to the Sonoma County guidelines for traffic impact studies, I'll quote, it says for projects that have languished and or are being submitted, all previous traffic studies relate for more than 2 years, languished for more than 2 years.
Cynthia, sorry, we're running short of time, and Mike just reported on what was covered in the meeting, not to have an additional meeting on the same subject.
I understand that it's a little difficult for me because I tried to speak at the land use meeting, but was told that instead I should bring my concerns to the full MAC meeting. So, little hard to know how to proceed.
Right.
Chair,
go ahead, Mike.
What happened? We had several MAC council members wanting to speak, and that would have violated Brown Act.
I'm following you now.
So therefore, we asked the MAC council members to raise any comments they might have at the full MAC council meeting where they could be heard.
Okay.
And
I'm with you now.
There'll be an opportunity, of course, for when this moves on to, this is open for public comment again, and this will be heard by the BZA and the Planning Commission. So
okay. I got you now. All right, Cynthia. Sorry to
Okay.
cut you off. I thought you were off.
It's
subject.
okay.
You're not. Okay.
It's okay, but like I say, the regulations in the Sonoma County guidelines for traffic impact studies say that for projects that have languished and/or are being resubmitted, all previous traffic studies relating to the development that are more than 2 years old will have to be updated. Well, clearly, it needs a traffic update. And that's really important in this issue, particularly because the traffic impact study focused on Gernwood Lane, which has about 15 houses on it maybe, and Armstrong Woods Road, which is kind of far away. But they absolutely didn't even touch on major arteries that empty out onto River Road, and that's Old Cazadero Highway, Old Monte Rio Road, and Lover's Lane. And there are hundreds of houses up there. There are actually 21 dead-end roads that feed onto those roads. And so in the event of a fire, people would have no other way to get out and be safe except to go down those hills and try to get out on River Road. And one problem with that, okay, and I'll be quiet now, but parking. The other stuff is parking. The county said they wanted 225 parking spaces, but these folks are trying to do it with 175 in a manner that really is more dangerous than not.
All right. Thanks, Cynthia.
Pip, I do have one quick comment.
Go, Mike.
Public comment is encouraged on the Girdwood Park Hotel project. Please submit comments to Georgia McDaniel at sonoma-county.org. She is the planner for this project. Her address is in the notes of the meeting that are included in the board packet, council packet this evening. So I encourage Cynthia to again address Georgia McDaniel, the project manager on the project planner on this, with her concerns.
Thanks, Mike. Okay, we're gonna move on to Lisa and trash.
Community cleanup.
Yeah.
So our ad hoc is now called Community Cleanup. We had a 39-minute meeting today where we established our schedule for fourth Thursdays of the month going forward. We are looking for 501c3s to partner with. There's possibly Friends of Monterey have expressed possibly an interest in doing the next community cleanup. The video for this is on the 95436.org website, which is Forestville Planning. And I was wondering if we could get that onto the lower, to our MAC website, the video. Russian River Keeper is always available to support. Carol Shumate is a great asset to our ad hoc, as well as Vicky, Vesta, and Alice. And then Vicky is going to sort of help liaise to get more outreach done for our ad hoc and to get more community cleanups going this year. And we wanted to know, Alice had a question to the chair of where does Adopt a Road fall now that we are limited to talking about community cleanup. So we wanted to ask you that question, Pip.
Okay.
That's the report.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. We'll have to think about how to get that in.
Great.
Okay. Any comments from council? Public? I don't see any. Jason, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, there are no
Okay.
hands raised.
Okay, Joe, communications ad hoc.
Thanks, Pip. Well, the committee consists of Patty Thayer, Vicky Clues, Betsy Van Dyke, and myself. We haven't had our first meeting yet. It's coming up this Saturday, but I'll tell you a little bit about what our agenda looks like in the interim. We're identifying all the various communities we'd like to both inform and gather perspectives from, including those without connectivity and other language speakers. We know we'll need multiple channels and media to make these links. We're going to pursue newspaper, radio, newsletter, flyers, social media, presence at events, and potentially hours were available in public places, and probably a lot more. We're intending to leverage other community groups, organizations, businesses, and neighbors in an attempt to engage the entire community. We feel we need to do a better job with communicating meeting announcements, current issues under consideration, elections, information about how your voice can be heard, as well as be supportive of other groups in getting word out about volunteer opportunities and upcoming events. And very importantly, we want to review our emergency communications so that in the case of floods, fires, earthquakes, or other disasters, we can quickly alert residents to important communication, even in the case of cell towers and electricity being down. So it's a big topic. And we'll try to incorporate ideas from the previous communications committee and local people with experience in community organizing and information sharing. To the public and the council, we welcome your ideas, and you can reach me with them at joe.lrrmac@gmail.com.
Thank you, Joe. I have one comment. I so appreciate what you guys are doing. This has been something that we've needed to fix for a couple of years now. And I think even the start of how you're thinking about this is you're on the right track. So thank you. Anyone else have a comment or a question? No, no public comment. Thank you, Joe.
No comment.
Elise, did you have something else you want to cover? Ms. Wyland.
I'm trying. I do. Shoo. Pushing buttons crazily. There is one thing that we have changes coming to the River Mac that you guys all need to know about. First of all, we moved to in-person meetings in March. Secondly, we're going to be doing monthly meetings from now on. The idea is that we want to be able to have shorter agendas and more time for public comment. So in order to allow for that, we have changed. Your wonderful representatives have agreed to volunteer to do monthly meetings rather than bi-monthly meetings. So starting in March, the River Mac meetings will be the second Thursday of the month. The new schedule is up on Supervisor Hopkins' page, and each one will be noticed as they are now with newsletters and websites and all those sorts of things. So look for it the second Thursday of the month. Sonoma Coast will continue to be on the third Thursday of the month. The land use meeting will be the first Thursday of the month. So we're just hitting Thursday. Just know that every Thursday there's some kind of great meeting you should be going to. We also had such a great participation from the Latino community after the community governance meeting that we've decided we found the budget to bring in interpreters to every in-person meeting. Those interpreters will be provided for all Spanish language translations. And lastly, we're also going out to our representatives to set up where our meetings will be held. We will rotate around. One of the things people have been asking for is for us to continue the Zoom. Because of Brown Act guideline changes, we have to go to in-person meetings starting in March. We would like to be able to do hybrid meetings, but our technical expertise for providing translation, for providing Zoom, and for bringing our meetings on the road where Wi-Fi and technology support is not necessarily strong, we don't yet feel ready to have full-on hybrid meetings. We are, however, working on it. What we're going to be doing is having them in person, having interpretation, and recording them so that we can at least put up an audio, hopefully a video recording so people can see it afterwards. We hope people will return to in-person meetings. And at the same time, we're working with our technology team and our public information office in order to figure out solutions to our technology issues to be able to offer full hybrid meetings. We want to get there. It's just really tough. And the quality isn't there. We don't want to promise something that we're going to suck at. So just wanted to let you know of the changes coming up as of March. And the whole idea is to grow our community engagement, give you guys a voice in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Elise. Any council questions or comments? Anyone in the public? Nothing? All right. With that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Heck yeah. I move to adjourn.
Second that.
All right. Thank
That
you.
was Joe and Mike.
Yep, it was.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone who attended.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you to the public.
Yeah.
Do we have to vote? No, not on
No,
adjournment.
not-
Awesome. Thank you.